Are you saying you actually care about the chickens?
I do.
And
They're
that's why
they're
you're
my
here.
babies. Yes.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I really appreciate that conversation because the general consumer or the general person, they see chickens, like you said, you're walking around in a stroller and Blossom's running around in the park, and people are like, oh my God, that's a chicken. This is cool. Let me ask you some questions. But then that same person doesn't actually realize you're getting eggs probably from the grocery store,
Hmm.
and those same type of birds are being what I would call mishandled,
Yep.
or treated in a very, very monstrous way.
Yeah.
Right, you got beaked birds, you got birds that don't have any feathers, or maybe lice or mite infested because they're sitting with 100 other birds.
Parasites.
Yeah,
Hmm.
parasites, all type of stuff, malnourished. And I was watching something the other day, and it said these animals don't have the idea concept of life expectancy, which I could say that could be true. I don't know that because I don't know what they're thinking. They don't
Right. Right.
talk, right? But I would assume it probably doesn't have an idea of life expectancy, but quality of life, they do understand that. And
Yeah.
with you giving that care, I can see why you can let a chicken loose in the park and it will come back to you.
Oh yes, yes. And they're like, you don't need a leash for her or anything. I'm like, no, she knows what she's got. She knows she's got it good. Like she comes right back. And I mean, honestly, too, it gets that conversation started because, like you said, at the store, right? People do, and I give people credit, right? Because they see these birds in that
Mhm,
condition and they're like, oh no, caged eggs, the cheap eggs. Well, I'm gonna
mhm.
pay more for cage free then,
Right,
or
and not knowing what it means,
free range. And it's like,
that's
but
the
let me
same
tell you,
thing,
right? Like
right?
and so it starts that conversation as well because they don't realize that even like pasture raised, right? I
Mhm,
mean, I'd say if anything, that's going to be, I guess, the most ethical that you get, but still,
mhm,
those birds at 1 to 2 years old are going to be sent off to slaughter
mhm.
because they hit that first molt. And so for two
They
to three
slow
months,
down.
they're not going to be productive. They
Mhm.
don't want to pay to feed them and take care of them while they're waiting for them to start laying again. Right. Like, and most of the people that we talk to, and that's why we put spent in quotes
Yeah,
because it's a very misleading term. So when people find out that these birds are really only 1 to 2 years old, especially people who know chickens and know how long they can live,
yeah.
they're in shock. They're like, "What? But those
Mm,
are still babies." And we're like, "Yeah." And they get rid of them because they hit that first molt.
right.
And if there is anything though that I will I guess kind of give, I don't know if it's give credit to at least the egg producer that we work with, but also a reason that it's beneficial to add some of these birds to your flock is so in that big industry, right? They're concerned about money.
Mhm.
So preventing outbreaks is more cost effective than dealing with them. So
Yeah,
these birds are like highly vaccinated. Like it's not something like if you decide you want to start with chicks or you go get some birds for, fancy breeds for your backyard. You
right.
can't just roll into your vet and be like, "Hey, vaccinate them please for
Yeah,
all
I
this
mean,
stuff that's out
Coccidiosis
there."
and Mercs or something, yeah.
Even your most well-connected vet is not going to have access to those vaccines because those are reserved for the big commercial industries because that's where the
Mhm.
money is. So adding these birds, or if you don't have chickens and you want to start out, adding some of these girls is a good thing because all those boxes are checked. Like
Mhm.
they're highly vaccinated, so they're very protected from a lot of the really bad stuff that's out there. So,
Look at you
it
schooling us.
does take some work, but
Mhm,
I kind of equate it, I guess, for people who don't know chickens like they do cats or dogs,
mhm.
and they're trying to figure out what kind of condition do these birds come in because you can show them pictures and you can say, oh, they're really shy and they're scared of everything, but with time and love they come around. It's really similar to I'd say like cats that come from a hoarding situation or
Yeah.
dogs that come from puppy mills,
Mhm.
you know, and there's so many success stories of those going on to be great pets, like
Yeah.
so it's even in like a couple weeks, a month's time, they look and act like totally different birds. And
Check out more information on our animal rescue, youth program, and podcast on our website,